Hope sees the invisible, feels the intangible, and achieves the impossible. That was said by Helen Keller, and that is the quote of the day. This is episode 20 of Make It to Midnight. I appreciate you guys being here. My name is JP Hovey. I'm the host of it. I'm based out of Nashville, Tennessee. And if you're new here, number one, thank you for being here. And number two, what this show is about is exactly what the title says. It's about helping people make it to midnight so that you can have 15 to 20 minutes of hopefully some inspiring, uplifting content that could help you through your day, week, month, whatever it may be. I'm just here trying to help people make it to midnight, and I'm trying to make it to midnight myself every day. We're all in this together. We can achieve that. I believe it. Now, there's been a lot of craziness that has happened since the last episode. Craziness in the world. Not so much my life, but craziness in the world with the assassination of Charlie Kirk, with the shooting that happened in Colorado, with what happened in Mississippi with the student, and a whole bunch of other things that will never make it to the mainstream media, like what's going on in Nepal or Uganda. There's a whole lot of sadness in the world. There's a whole lot of what feels like hopelessness in the world. And we're going to sit in it for a second. It's going to get better because I'm here to tell you why I think that the human race needs to hold out hope, because I do believe in people. The first thing I want to get into is that September is Suicide Prevention and Awareness Month, and I think it is one of the most important months of the year, and it's something that we all can take part in because it is one of the few things that we can prevent. Yes, some people are mentally sick and it's going to be harder than others, but the way that we can help prevent it is by how we treat others. But some statistics I want to read out to you guys about suicide, just to explain how heavy it actually is. Suicide is the second leading cause of death for people ages 10 to 34. Suicide rates have jumped 60% since 2007. And one of the number one emotions people feel is hopelessness and helplessness, or they feel like they're a burden. So those two stats specifically jump out to me, and that emotion was key in this episode because I want to make this episode about hope because it feels like we don't have a lot of it. You see how everybody is responding to all of these tragedies that are going on. They're picking sides, and they're not sitting there and just feeling for the people that have lost their lives due to senseless acts by individuals. Remember, these things were done by individuals, not massive groups of people. And I feel like we're grouping people in on one side or another. That's what the politicians have done. They've created right and left, Republican, Democrat, conservative, liberal. And I actually made an Instagram post about this because I'm tired of it. I'm tired, and I think everyone's tired of it because majority of us, all we want to do is go to work, make enough money for our family, and to do one or two things that we enjoy. And then we want to go to bed and wake up and do it the next day. You don't leave your house looking to hate something, looking to hate somebody. You leave your house trying to make your life better. But the people that are in charge and have been in charge of the country for probably the last 25 years, they've just pulled us apart from each other. And we're the ones that make up the country. And this is what I had to say because a lot of this episode will be about social media. As someone who loves social media, I can confidently say the world would be better off if it never existed. People have never had access to hatred towards people that they've never met more than they do right now. Politicians wouldn't be able to preach division to the masses the way they do now. The majority of people are tired of hate and division, but the minority of people, politicians, news media outlets, etc., etc., are the loudest and try to manipulate people into hating each other. I'll continue to try and spread as much positivity on my pages as possible. Do not let them win. And that would be my message, the overarching message of everything that's going on and all of the hatred that's being spewed everywhere is if you are out there hating and making a stance on somebody else's death that you don't know, you are letting them win. You let the politicians, you let the people that are fully out there. There's obviously a handful of people in DC and in your local governments that want to make your life better. That's what they're called to do, and they do a great job at it. But the people that we see on TV, Majority of them do not care. They want to stuff their pockets. And if we buy into the hate that they're spreading, we're just contributing to their pockets, and we're taking away from all of the things that make it great to be American, great to be a human even. And that's what we've forgotten. We've forgotten that because of social media, it seems like we've forgotten that people are human. You wouldn't say half the crap you say to people that you say online if you saw them in person. And Lauren Daigle, who's a Christian music artist, one of my favorite artists, her songs have helped me through some of my toughest times. And I really am inspired by her, the way she lives her life. But she was getting a lot of criticism for not speaking up about the Charlie Kirk incident. And remember, I'm going to get to the part where there's hope. I know this could sound like a downer right now, but this is tied into Suicide Prevention Month as well, and it's important for people to know. But people were criticizing Lauren Daigle on not speaking out about Charlie Kirk's death. Mind you, that happened less than a week ago, depending on when this comes out. Less than a week ago, right around a week. And this is what she posted on her Instagram, and I think it's something everybody needs to hear. The assassination and the brutally heartless comments celebrating such proof. Sorry, let me start here. Social media has ruined our proximity to one another. We now see people in black and white text instead of seeing black and white text secondary to who the person is. Have we removed ourselves from ever offering grace? What is a society without grace? To those who have commented and questioned my silence around Charlie Kirk's death, let me remind you that some of us actually don't put social media first. We actually process with our loved ones, our friends, our families. We sort out what grief looks like in the private versus the public. Some of us are still actually human. I'm not silent. I'm angry and I'm in shock. Give me a freaking second to absorb, sit with God, and stop looking to celebrities for your cure. I will never and don't ever plan to be your fix. My timeline will never be yours. Let that sink in. And I could not agree with that more. We let these comedians, actors, TV personalities, for whatever reason, we've decided to look to them to tell us about our opinions or to form our opinions for us. Half the opinions that people have are not even theirs. They're said by someone else that they just heard somewhere and they want to adopt. Yet, we're stuck on keeping that opinion, even though we didn't come up with it in the first place. When you're looking for a role model, last week I talked about the 5 traits that you should be looking for in a role model. Discipline, optimism, empathy were some of these traits. Look at the people that are out there preaching the messages. Do they have the traits of somebody that you would look up to? Most of them do not, especially in the entertainment industry. And they don't have to. That's not Lauren Daigle's job to be that person. She is a great role model, but at the end of the day, she's a singer. It's up to you to be the one figuring out what you value, who you value, and how you're going to value it. But I thought that was really well said on the whole situation. You should also check out Dan Lanning's comments on everything, because he had an amazing comments, and he's the head football coach of the Oregon football team. So he's in a locker room, and I'll kind of start to bleed into where the hope comes in, because Dan Lanning, he's in charge of, almost 100 young men from all different backgrounds, all different parts of the country, all different demographics, all different financial classes. And his number one job is to make them come together, believe in the mission, and win. And he's done a great job of that. He's one of the top 5 coaches in college football. He wins over 11 games every single year, it seems like, and a national championship is coming. And he's saying that we have got to stop looking at our screens and what the internet is saying is going on and how much we're supposed to hate each other. Look inside a football locker room. Look inside and see how all these people, despite having differences, are bought into the same mission, love each other, and know that without each other, they're never going to achieve that goal. And that would be another message to humankind. We're never going to get to where we want to get without each other. And that means without each other's different beliefs, without each other's different personalities, without each other's different gifts, we're never going to get there. And it's also important in figuring out where we're going to get. And I think most people want the same things. They want peace, they want stability, and they want some safety. I would say those 3 things everybody could agree on. And, I'll stick with those three. Those are the three things people want. We're never going to get there if we can't all get on board, and I believe we can get on board. But we have got to turn off the screens, because I have it written down here. There's some. It's alarming to me, and it's what scares me. And it's the rise of social media and its downfall. The iPhone was introduced in 2007, and social media exploded in 2010. In both of those years, we saw an extreme rise in teen anxiety and depression. From 2007 to 2010, kids' social media use rose 7 minutes per day to 73 minutes per day, and depressive symptoms increased by 35%. Think that's just going from 7 minutes to 73 minutes. I don't know what the stat is today, and this is all from CDC, Pew Research, and one other website I'll have to pull up later on, but all government issued statistics websites. So that increased 35% in those first 3 years, and that was not even the tip of all of the social medias that we have now. Now listen to this. 48% of teens say social media has a mostly negative effect on people their age, and that is up 32%. That's up from 32% in 2022. 45% of teens say they spend too much time on social media, up from 36% in 2022. More than 1 in 5 adults report negative mental health impacts from constant online connectivity, and Gen Z is a little bit higher than that, above 1 in every 4 people from Gen Z. And the USAFacts.com, they have a chart illustrating a roughly 30% increase in U.S. suicide rate over the past 20 years. This is alarming because social media is not going anywhere, and back to those feelings that can lead to suicide, which is isolation, hopelessness, and not being able to meet expectations. Social media is contributing to all of that. Isolation. You feel like you can be connected to everybody without ever having to step out of your door because you have Instagram, Facebook, Snapchat, Twitter. You're seeing everybody's opinions. You're seeing everybody's life. We've never had more opportunity to be connected, yet we've never been more isolated because we never go outside anymore. Expectations. Comparison is the thief of joy should be the motto of all social media. I personally, what I try to do to negate that, to negate my social media footprint that I'm leaving, when somebody comes to my Instagram page, what is the one thing? How do I want them to feel when they leave? I want them to be laughing, or I want them to be smiling. I want them to have a positive experience. And I don't want them to be comparing. I post things that are true to me. I don't care what other people are posting. And it doesn't matter. The likes, I'm lucky because I've never been obsessed with the likes. And nowadays, so many people are obsessed with the likes because they think in order to be cool, you have to have the likes. You have to have the shares. You have to have the comments. You have to have everybody giving you a compliment, which is something that I've been working on. And this would be, I'm sure, useful to everybody, is if everything was taken away from me, my social media page, my job title, I drive a 2012 Toyota Camry. Say I was in a horrible car, would I still be okay with who I was? And that's a tough question to answer. And some days the answer is, yeah, I would still be okay with who I am. And some days the answer is, no, I don't think I would be able to handle it. But the goal is to keep working towards having that answer and being so confident in yourself that you don't need any of these outside extrinsic things to validate you in the life that you're living. And it scares me seeing all these numbers go up. And what scares me even more is that when you do Google these stats on social media's connection to anxiety, depression, and suicide, at the very end of a lot of the articles or Google searches or chat GPTs, wherever you want to find it, they will always throw in the caveat of, these things can't be directly measured and correlated to the rise of social media. We can say that the depression is going up, and that's true, but we can't say that it's solely because of social media. And I would say that's a cowardly way out. Obviously, people are dealing with things outside of social media, but you can't listen to these stats that I just read off and not tell me that it's not playing the largest factor in the rise of all of these, of the The big three: anxiety, depression, suicide. Now, that seems like a doomsday episode. The reason that I have hope is because every single time I go outside, and trust me, I'm blessed to live in a city in this country where things are good, and it's not a war-torn country, because somebody overseas, somebody in South America, they could walk outside and they could be seeing war. So if you're American, this one is definitely tailored to you. And I'm grateful to live in a good area as well in Nashville. There's bad parts to everywhere, but for the most part, it's a good area. Anytime I go outside, today I was walking just around outside, and what did I see? I saw a father walking with a daughter, and the daughter talking his ear off, and he's just sitting there smiling. I saw a girl walking her dog, listening to whatever, doing her thing. I saw a mom with her baby, and the baby laughing, making the mom laugh and doing their thing. I saw a dog trying to run rampant from her owner, and the owner trying to bring her in. I saw two black guys and a white guy playing golf on the public course. I see all of these things that are so opposite of what the internet tries to say is going on. And I've never walked outside and into these areas where people are just at their throats at all times. And if you scroll on your phone, that's what it feels like. It feels like people are at their throats at all times, but it is not the reality. It's the reality that they want us to live in. And I don't know why. I try to zoom out and even picture what could they possibly be gaining, they as in the political people of the world, leaders of the world. What could they possibly be gaining by tearing us apart? And ultimately, I think it comes down to power. And for all of human history, that's what life's been about, has been about power. And it's sad because ego is the enemy. Ego is the downfall of every empire that has ever lived. America is a young country. I'm reading Ben Franklin's autobiography right now. And, you're seeing when he's born, you're learning about his family. You're hearing about when Boston was being built as a city and how the jobs worked. And when you look at the dates on it, the book starting out before Ben Franklin, so with his dad, granddad, basically take the 1600s to the 1700s. That's not that long ago in comparison to the history of the world and how long the world has been here. And it's nuts because of just how fast things can change. But I have hope because we go outside, and I have hope because whenever I'm outside, whenever I'm in nature, whenever I'm around a bunch of people, I don't see the same things that I see online. And I think that's something that we're slowly losing because more and more people are staying inside. They're staying in isolation, and isolation is contributing to the reason that we have Suicide Prevention Awareness Month. So what can we do to fight it? We can get out there. I'll say this actually, because I was thinking about bravery earlier. What is bravery? What is courage? Without fear, there is no bravery. There is no courage. But bravery and courage, people think they're courageous when they put up a social media post about whatever's going on in the world, about somebody's death, about a bill that was passed that they disagree with. People think it's courageous to post about it. It's not courageous to post about it any way you cut it. You're putting something on Instagram, and Instagram is just you're literally scrolling on your phone. And I can't explain enough how that is one of the least signs of courage that you can show. A true sign of courage is showing up in person and talking it out with somebody that you disagree with. You may never agree with this person, but it's courageous to go up there, to have the conversation, to potentially have your mind changed, or you get to change their mind, but you're opening yourself up to failure ultimately, which is what we all need to, it's so key to open yourself up to that, because it's the only way you're going to learn. And it's the only way you can also teach people, because you might be right in whatever you're thinking, but if you don't ever have that conversation with somebody face to face, you're never going to change them. I don't know of a single mind that was changed because of a tweet that they read. I do know of a lot of minds that were changed because of speeches that were given in front of masses, because of open forums that people are doing, and just the face-to-face interactions. That is courage to me. So be courageous, go outside, you have it in you, and let's change the narrative. I believe we can change the narrative. I want to live in a world where the narrative is changed. I want, whenever I have kids, God willing, that they live in a world that looks a whole lot different than the one we live in now. I've been going for around 20 minutes. There's only one other thing I wanted to bring up, and I just thought it was cool. It's in this book I'm reading, When Breath Becomes Air, by Paul Kalanithi. He was a neurosurgeon, one of the best neurosurgeons in the world, right? On his way to become one. And he loved the idea of finding the meaning of life. And the more he was an English major at Stanford at first, and he was a major in something else. But the more he read, the more he realized, okay, if I'm going to figure out the meaning of life, then I need to learn about the brain. So being the genius he is, he's able to enroll in med school, crushes med school, becomes a neurosurgeon, starts researching it all. And unfortunately, he's diagnosed with cancer in his last year of residency. And he writes this book as somebody that has dealt with death, helping patients through death or lead them to death or prevent death, and now being the patient facing death. And it is it's got to be the closest way for somebody that's not sick to experience what it's like to be sick and heading towards death's door. But I will be referencing this book a lot going forward, and some of the thing I'm going to give with you today is that stood out to me in the book was, in his memoir, he talks about that science cannot explain the most central aspects of human life, which include key emotions and virtues. The specific human experiences and emotions he cites as having no scientific explanation are these: hope, fear, love, hate, beauty, envy, honor, weakness, striving, suffering, and virtue. His point is that while science is excellent for organizing empirical data, it is unable to grasp the deeper, subjective, and visceral human emotions that make life meaningful. This was a crucial lesson for Kalanithi, who found himself confronted with these unquantifiable experiences after being diagnosed with terminal cancer. I think it speaks to a lot about the Creator and our creation, that you can relate a little bit to which parts of the brain will trigger when you feel hopeful, but there's not a certain part of the brain that activates hope, love, beauty, envy, honor, all of these virtues that I just listed. I think that is one of the coolest things of, we're never going to understand it all. We're not made to understand it all, but we have the opportunity to have these feelings, and what we put into this world is what we're going to get out of it. So if you're putting in hope, love, beauty, honor, striving, virtue, that's what you're going to get out. But if you're putting in fear, hate, envy, weakness, it's okay to be weak, but you know what I mean? You're projecting weakness on others, making other people feel weak. That's exactly what you're going to get out. Decide what you want, who you want to be, which person, what do you want to be pouring out into the world? Picture the world as the garden, and we're all gardeners. What type of soil, what type of water do you want to be pouring on it? And I think we all know the correct answer. And remember, the most courageous thing you can do is go out there, have a conversation, and love somebody that disagrees with you. That's true courage. Hating is not courage. Hating on social media is definitely not courage. But loving somebody despite disagreeing with them, that is courageous. And that, if there's one thing you could take from this whole episode, I hope it is that. True courage is loving somebody that disagrees with you and understanding that we both need each other. So thank you for tuning in to this episode of Make It to Midnight. Typically, it's a little bit more upbeat, uplifting, but it is Suicide Prevention and Awareness Month, so I wanted to hit on some of these tough topics. Sorry if I was rambling, but this has just been a heavy month overall, and there's light at the end of the tunnel. There always is, but it starts with us. It starts with the individual. Do not look to your screens. Do not look to the people on the screens to tell you how you should be reacting. You already know how you should be reacting. It's with love, it's with hope, it's with honor, and it's with virtue. So I hope you enjoyed this episode. Tune in next time for another great episode. Stay tuned on all the socials for short form content, and also be on the lookout for products. Been working on shirts, pens, wristbands, bracelets, anything that can be good reminders for people throughout their day to help them keep making it to midnight. So I will see you guys in the next episode.